got a guest that I have known for many, many years. I actually chaperoned his trip to Washington, D.C. I promise not to tell any of those stories. I think when he was in middle school.
Yep.
Today's guest is premier fisherman Caz Anderson with Fish Chatuge Guide Services. Welcome, Caz.
Thank you, Rick, for having us. It's going to be a good little show here.
Caz, how old were you when you first had a pole in your hand?
Probably like 3 years old. I mean, enough to walk, basically, enough to where I could carry the weight of one. My dad put one in my hand at a very early age.
Tell them about your mom and dad.
Yeah, so been here for a long time. My family's been around here for generations for sure. So mountain roots run deep for sure. And my dad and mom both were originally from here, like I said, and we are centered around the outdoors.
Right.
My dad especially grew up fishing and hunting and things like that and wanted to instill that in me and my brother from an early age. And super blessed to have good parents that have always poured into me and helped me live out my dreams. And, you know, from an early age, my earliest memories are fishing with my dad.
And that's here on Chatuge.
Yeah, so.
Now, we're going to get, you've fished a few other spots since then.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, I will tell you, strike that. I will tell you, before I came on, someone asked who's the guest, and I said, it's Caz Anderson. And they said, tell him I'm checking out his YouTube channel looking for the best fishing spots.
Hey.
Oh, and I know that's a heated topic.
Can be. Hey, that's good. We got some traction, though. The YouTube is just kind of starting out, and, you know, people are watching. That's good. I'm a fishing guide full time, so my job is to show people where some good spots are. So I definitely keep some to myself. But, you know, for the most part, we're pretty public with it.
I can remember when you started Fish Chatuge Guide Services, my wife and I went out. I can't remember if it was a half day or a full day, and we had a blast.
Mm-hmm.
And we were taking all these pictures, and I remembered you had one request when we were taking pictures, and that was, look, man, don't get pictures of the lures we're using.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. That was, it's still, sometimes you got to be sneaky, and it used to be a lot
I'd say
worse.
private, not
Yeah,
sneaky.
Yeah, it used to be a lot more private than what I am now. You know, fishing's a weird thing. Outdoorsmen are weird as a whole. We keep some things secret, some things, you know, I'm bad. I talk too much. I share it with everybody. It's bit me in the butt a few times, but, you know, it's, back then I was like, we're going to black out the backgrounds. I'd use editing apps and color out the backgrounds, and my pictures looked terrible because they were all just Sharpie scribbles in the background and somebody holding a fish. But we've moved past that now, and it is what it is. But
Oh, all right. Now, I will tell you something that shocked me. Years ago, when I went to college, we had basketball, baseball, football. I went to Florida State.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's been a rough year for us Knowles. Let's not talk about that.
Yeah.
But a few years back, ESPN rolled into town, and I'm seeing rigs from Auburn, Texas A&M with big trucks, big boats,
Yep.
and they had a collegiate, some type of championship fishing on Chatuge. ESPN came and filmed the going out, and then the weigh-in, I guess.
yeah.
You fished collegiately, didn't you?
I did, yeah. A few years after that, I was really young when that came through, but that's what sparked my interest in wanting. College fishing was relatively new then,
Right.
2013, 2014, and the growth has been insane. I just graduated in December of 2023, and you know, whenever I graduated, there were thousands of teams across the country from every university, people going on full ride scholarships to fish. And it's insane. It was the greatest thing that ever happened to me.
I'm glad you see the insanity of it because
It's wild. Yeah, and I mean, where I went was Carson Newman in East Tennessee,
Right.
up there in Knoxville. Good program, and the school was behind us 100%. Entry fees, gas, hotels, food, and I mean, we missed so much class it was not even funny, and still graduated somehow. But I'm telling you, we were on the road half the year, going all over the country from New York, Minnesota, Texas, Florida, everywhere in between. So
Now you-
definitely made college pretty fun.
Yeah, not my experience with college, but all right. I'm guessing, grew up fishing Lake Chatuge,
I did. Yep.
and you offer a Chatuge Guide Services. Tell us, before we move on, tell us a little about that. How do they contact you, and what do you offer?
Yeah, so I offer fishing experiences on all the surrounding lakes, but Lake Chatuge is the primary place. This is an awesome place in the mountains.
Sure.
And I've literally fished. I keep a list on my phone of lakes I've fished, and it's over 100. And this is the top, no doubt. You can't beat it. And I do halves, 3/4, and full days, but pretty much custom tailored fishing trips for anybody. Can accommodate a large number of people. We'll get other boats involved, and I just take you out and show you around and catch some fish.
And you supply the boat, the gear, the
boat,
gas,
the baits, everything. You just need to bring yourself and any snacks or drinks that you'd like. My phone number is 828-644-4392.
and go slow. What's that number again?
828-644-4392.
Folks, I fished with him. The kid is a fish whisperer. The day I fished with him, I caught one, and unfortunately it was blind in one eye. And Caz's nice remark to me was, okay, I get how you caught that one. He's blind in an eye, Rick. No wonder you caught that one. He caught them one after another. He really is if you're looking to catch fish on one of the local lakes, I can highly recommend hiring Caz over at Fish Chatuge Guide Services. Now, my wife was a fisherman. Fisherwoman,
Yeah.
fisher person. I
Yeah.
don't know what to correct.
I don't
anyhow.
think there's a right or wrong.
Yeah, there's some people that would.
No doubt.
We know
No
that.
doubt. Yeah.
But they're probably not out fishing. But
Right.
anyhow, my wife's the fisher person in our family, so to speak. And I've got to tell you, I had the views.
Yeah.
It was just fun being out on the boat. It was
Absolutely.
gorgeous.
It was a perfect day. I remember that day because that was earlier on in my guide service. This is my 6th year of doing it. It's hard to believe. Since I could drive, it's what I've done.
You're just getting old.
Yeah,
You're just
I'm
getting old,
up there.
Cass.
Yeah, no doubt. But
But-
that day was premier. You won't get many better ones.
Yeah, and we had a blast. Folks, today's guest is Caz Anderson. He's the head guide over at Fish Chatuge Guide Services, but he doesn't just do Chatuge. What other lakes do you do?
I got on Lake Burton, Lake Notley, and Lake Lanier. So
Okay.
I go all the way down south close to Atlanta. And, I can tailor to wherever you live if you don't want to go far from home, or if you have a lake that you might have a tournament coming up on if you fish, or if you just want to see different places. So,
All right.
yep.
Folks, we'll be right back after these commercial messages. Thanks for listening. Welcome back, folks. Today we're talking with Caz Anderson, the chief guide over at Fish Chatuge Guide Services. We are talking all things fishing. You fished throughout college on a fishing team. Tell me about some of the spots. What's the furthest spot you've ever fished?
Probably Upper Mississippi River up in Minnesota. That's a long haul from here. This year, I think we're going to beat that. Leech Lake is a tournament I've got coming up. It's up in Walker, Minnesota. It's a 20-hour drive from here, pulling a boat. So we might split that one up into 2 days. It's a pretty good haul, but been all over the country, and a lot's different from here at home.
Sure.
When I first kind of started traveling around, not everywhere is like these places in the mountains. The water's super clear. You don't have to worry about hitting anything with your boat, navigating around the lake.
Right.
And the waves don't ever get really big. It's honestly a very luxurious place to fish, if you will, because you don't have to worry about risking anything. with
Talking
your
about here on
equipment.
Chatuge.
Talking about here in the local area around Chatuge.
Tell me, what lakes or where have you been where it's a little more dicey with stumps and things like that?
Yeah, down at Louisiana, we got Toledo Bend. Any lake in Texas, it's pretty dicey. A lot of standing timber down there. The scariest experience ever was no doubt the Great Lakes, Lake Huron and Lake Erie. You're out there in a 20-foot bass boat, and you're getting passed by Titanic-sized barges and ships and big oil freighters, and they're throwing a 10-foot wake off the back. It's a little, you gotta play it a little smart for sure. The wind gets up and you might set sail, but it's a lot different than around home. And I'm definitely glad to have had those experiences going into next year where I'm going to be chasing the full-time professional deal.
And let's talk about that. Tell
Yeah.
me about qualifying. Collegiate fishing blew me away when I
Yeah,
first saw that.
right.
Educate me about being a professional fisherman.
Yeah, so since I was little, had the dream of being a full-time professional fisherman. It's a tough deal. It's tough to, get sponsorships. There's all kinds of different variables. And I love to fish. Small town kid, it's tough to get acquainted with a bunch of people in the industry. I've been blessed to travel around and make a lot of that happen. Networking is a good skill to develop. And, tournament fishing's definitely took me a lot of places. Next year, fishing the Bassmaster Opens, so that's a trail. And
Do you have to qualify to fish these?
no, these are kind of like minor league deals.
Okay.
It definitely helps to have some experience before you jump into them. But
Okay.
the next step after these is qualifying for the Bassmaster Elite Series. So I have to be in the top 10 in the point standings in these after the end of the year.
Wow. Now, where are you? Is it a
They
national?
don't
or
have rankings like
Okay.
until the tournament starts.
Okay.
So there's
Okay.
4 events, and it's a series of tournaments. But at the end of the year, they take the top 10 out of probably 400 or 500 people, and that's
And
the Elite Series crowd.
So you sign up for a tournament. Are all tournaments alike? It's whoever catches the most pounds?
Yeah,
or
yeah, it's weight based. You weigh 5 fish a day, so your biggest 5 fish a day.
And how long are most tournaments?
Mostly you get about 8 hours in a day. They take off at safe light and they weigh in at 3 or 4 o'clock, depending on what boat number you are. So there's 200 boats to launch. They don't all go at the same time like they used to, shotgun start. But it's now, they'll do 15 to 25 boats at a time, and different times come in at different times. Different flights come in at different times.
1 day, 2 days, 3 days?
Yeah, a lot of them these are all 3-day events.
This sounds like a golf tournament to me, honestly.
It's tough to maintain focus over 3 days.
Sure.
So you're down there, you've traveled, you're roughing it a lot of the times and staying in some, junky Airbnb most of the time and just trying to make it work. And but I love it. There's nothing I love more.
Sure.
Just toughing it out on the road. But the end goal is to qualify for the Elite Series, make it a full-time job, be a professional fisherman. Got a bunch of tournaments. I filled out my calendar the other day for the coming year, and especially the first half of the year, it's insane. I'm home probably, a month total for the first 6 months
Your
of
mom
the
is
year.
not going to like that.
No, probably not. The big tournament I've got my sights set on right now is the BFL All-American. So there's tournaments called BFLs. So that's like your local level tournaments that they have in the region. They have them in Georgia. They have them in Michigan. They have them in every state. And you have to be in the top 6 in your state to make it, or in the little region.
Right.
So they end up taking around out of the states that they do those tournaments in, they take the top 49 anglers in the country for the year, and you fish a tournament called the All-American. So my buddies have won it the last 2 years in a row, 2 of my best friends, so I got kind of jealous. I wanted to go and give it a try, and at least we got in the tournament. So that was a big step, and we got to go to Arkansas for that this year. So family's going to travel with me, and that's the one I'm looking forward to the most. So
That's exciting.
it is
That's
really exciting, man. I'm so pumped.
And I take it it's bass.
Yeah, bass fishing.
Just bass.
That's pretty much all I'm after. I love every type of fishing. I'll go catch whatever swims, but for as far as tournament goes, it's strictly bass fishing.
I grew up on the Gulf Coast of Florida. I've done some deep sea. Do you ever do any deep sea or?
I've done it before we went to the Florida Keys.
Oh, beautiful,
And-
beautiful.
Oh my gosh, it was the most insane experience I've ever had. Me and my dad and some friends went out there, and I remember watching my dad reel in a mahi,
Oh.
and there's just tons of them around the boat. And I'm sitting there holding my bait out of the water, just sitting there watching my dad fight a fish, and all of a sudden my rod bite gets jerked out of my hand. And there's a mahi that jumped up out of the water and ate mine as I'm sitting there holding my bait out of the water, watching my dad fight a fish. Those are just memories I'll never forget. Saltwater fishing, I don't get to do it much, but if I
Sure.
get the opportunity, I jump on it instantly.
Take it up.
100%.
I understand. That's a lot of fun.
Oh,
a lot
my
of
gosh,
fun.
it's awesome.
Let's get back. You, Fish Chatuge Guide Services. When are y'all open? Tell me more about your business.
We do it as many days a year except for Thanksgiving and Christmas and the major holidays. If you want to go, call me in advance. We'll set up a date and go. I have a website. fishchatuge.com. You can send an email on the website or call me directly or reach out on social media. But we'll set up a date. Whatever works for you. I do it pretty loose. I'm not really super strict on dates or things like that. If it works for me and works for you, then we'll let her rip. So.
And your website again is fishchatuge.com?
Yes, sir. Yep. So you can find every bit of information on there about the whole organization. But it's been going on for a while. It started out as a summer job, and now it's a full-blown business, So
Yep.
it's amazing.
Oh, I remember when your dad told me you were starting it.
Yeah.
Kathy and I had a blast
Oh, it was so
out
good.
there fishing with you. What is your one tip if someone's coming to Chatuge and they've never fished Chatuge?
Yep.
What's the one tip you would want them to have?
Well, get out there, find you any long points, and Chatuge has white shallow water markers all over the lake that the DNR puts out. Those are all high spots on the water, and they're just, fish gravitate towards those places. So get out there, throw a lure that's usually shiny, long and shiny, 4 to 5 inches. That's usually what I fish with about year-round, something to mimic the herring that's in the lake.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Pretty clever. That's pretty good advice.
Yeah, so that might work for people, for sure.
And again, that's Fish Chatuge Guide Service is your number?
828-644-4392.
And it's fishchatuge.com.
Fishchatuge.com.
And if they want to learn about fishing, I know my brother-in-law loves your YouTube site.
Yeah.
What's your YouTube? Where do they find you on YouTube?
You can look me up at Caz Anderson Fishing. Subscribe. It'd be awesome. Getting on there, posting weekly videos right now. Trying to do as much as I can.
You learn a lot about our local lakes and fishing on that channel. Caz, I so appreciate you coming on. This has been a lot of fun. Thanks for coming.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for watching.
We'll be back next week, folks. Thanks for listening.